The question is a time. Describe a time when Darren was brave. So I think an appropriate time was when we were in Kenya, and we had a very large group of people, and the trip was going pretty well for a lot of folks, but we had a couple of volunteers that were just nothing that we did was going to satisfy them, and they questioned and challenged us on every policy or decision that we were making and the entire schedule, and really felt that they were not getting what they deserved or what they paid for. And after the trip, we, and Darren specifically, felt incredibly beat up and kind of felt like maybe he shouldn't continue to do what he does. Part of being brave and confronting challenges is to be able to take a step back, do a self-assessment, and figure out how you can continue to be successful and to move on and continue to follow your calling. And this is a really good example of Darren being true to himself and not letting himself be torn down by others or by a situation. So that takes a lot of fortitude and a lot of commitment to mission and commitment to self. And I think it's a really good example of the type of person that Darren is.
Pop is brave because he has courage and he always has enough love to share and be brave enough to go and help people, and he always sometimes goes to the hospital and holds people's hands and prays. And Poppy is brave because he helps other people when they're hurt, and he's kind to one another, and he is gentle to one another like he's gentle to us.
So one of the main ways that my dad has been courageous and brave for our family is that when I was little, he made a lot of sacrifices for work and on vacations and that kind of stuff, and it was hard at the time, but I know that it was so that he could provide for us and make sure that we had the things that we wanted and that we got to go and do the things that we wanted to do.
Start out with, he's very brave because he's been in a household of 3 women for most of his life. But we're angels, so I guess.
And on top of that, we're very sassy and independent, as you can see. So
yeah. But he helped raise us, so kind of his fault. Pretty much his fault.
Sure. Okay.
Many of you know, I'm sure, that Dad got divorced, and he was very brave and courageous, and the fact that he realized that he needed help and that he couldn't figure all this out on his own, and that he not only needed our help and to vent to us and us vent to him and all that kind of stuff, but he was able to realize that he needed outside help and be brave and strong and be willing to do that and sacrifice pride and ego and all that kind of stuff over that.
Yep, and kind of going along with that, he's always just been the kind of person to be brave enough and courageous enough to do the right thing no matter what. And so it's just
stick to his morals and his values, and even when things are against him, he is very loyal and understanding and caring of other people.
My dad, Bruce Brown, is a very brave and courageous man for many reasons, but for 2 primarily is his past service and his willingness to serve and to work for others. He was in the military for a number of years, and then he went to the Air Force Academy, and now he's an airline pilot, and just all those sorts of things demand a lot of you, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and you have to spend a lot of time away from your family, and it's a very tough circumstance. And I think only those who are brave and courageous can really flourish in those circumstances. Also, I think his ability to seek out opportunities to get out of his comfort zone and to demand a lot of himself while serving others, in addition to being himself and just being true to who he is in the eyes of God and just never wavering from that.
So when it comes to courage and Ryan, there's a lot that I could say. But what first came to mind was the quote by Brené Brown. Courage starts with showing up and letting ourselves be seen. And here's what I know. You have inspired many with your story by being vulnerable. You model transparency, authenticity, and grace by sharing with others where you have come from and where you're going. Because you show up and are brave, others are enabled to also find the freedom to show up and be seen. You, my love, have a gift, a beautiful gift. It seems so natural for you to be courageous. But perhaps the most beautiful is the journey of the process, watching these roots as they continue to unfold. The transformation that naturally happens when you embrace the chaos, you stay connected, and you continue to emerge courageously.
First of all, I think just anyone who would agree to marry me at the ripe old age of 22 and to commit themselves at such a young age, and then not only that, but continue to grow for 28 years together and go through and just grow up together and to learn together. That's a lot of bravery right there. And then when I think back and think about you graduating from law school at the age of 25 and willing to give up everything you knew and move to El Paso, Texas and start over and make new contacts, make new friends, and be away from family. That definitely in my book exhibits a lot of bravery. After that, I was thinking the next thing that really stood out to me is, once again, you giving up what you knew and what you were comfortable with and moving and leaving El Paso, leaving the job where you were very successful, and agreeing to move to Denver, where my job opportunities were so much better. And once again, just giving up everything and starting over again shows a lot of bravery. And also during that transition, just being willing to take on parenting all by yourself. When I moved out here and you were still winding things up in El Paso and doing your job and being the full-time dad to our 3.5-year-old daughter at that time. So, there's so many other things I can think of. And to me, when you think about courageousness or bravery, to me, it's not really the absence of fear, but it's not letting fear control you. And you're just the type of person who's never turned away from being challenged or putting yourself out there on the line and doing something that's out of your comfort zone. So to me, there's so many more instances where you've shown bravery, and I love you for that, and I can't wait for many more years. Love you.
Courage is defined as having strength in the face of pain. I think by now everyone knows that this last year and a half hasn't been an easy one for Jensen. A year where it would have been easy to give up and let the grief take over, Jensen did the exact opposite. He not only showed great strength and bravery for himself, but was my rock and lifted me up just when I thought I couldn't do it anymore. And if that isn't the true meaning of courage, then I don't know what is. Over this last year, I have watched you overcome obstacles, say yes to the unknown, and face whatever challenge you were given head on and always with a smile on your face. I have loved watching you grow in your faith, and I'm so proud to call you my husband. You are the bravest person that I know. I'm so proud of you for putting yourself out there, and I hope that you've had a great weekend. I love you so much.
When I was studying abroad in Spain, after I was studying abroad, I was to meet my family in Rome, so I was gonna fly from Madrid to Rome. Well, that day was the worst day of my life and also one of the best days of my life because of Dad. Finally got on the flight, and then I got to Rome, and we were to meet outside customs, but airports are big, so I thought I was outside of customs, but Dad wasn't there yet. So I was sort of freaking out because I was in a foreign country alone. Luckily, Dad had gotten one of Ari's emails or one of my emails, and he came out to the right spot and he found me, and we just started crying because I was so emotional. So I thought that day it was just really brave of him to come and find me somehow. Like, he just somehow found me in this amazingly huge airport in this foreign country in the language that neither of us spoke, and it was just very emotional. And from that day on, it has reminded me of how much he has taught me to be brave and courageous and go to foreign countries and learn new things and things like that, to always be able to find your way.
Bria and Mom, one time on a trip to Hawaii, had to get back early. I think Mom had work and Bria had school, and we decided to go out one last day for snorkeling, and we probably shouldn't have, but it was so murky. We decided to come back in, and we weren't really watching the waves like you're supposed to, and one of them got both of us, and I just kind of remember being underwater and then all of a sudden having a hand pick me up, and I was above water and my snorkel was down around my neck. Dad's was completely gone at this point, and he quickly got us to shore, and from the story he tells, we sat on the beach for a very long time after that. He's taught us to be brave and courageous in different ways over the years, just in the small things like being respectful or meeting new people and not being afraid to try new things and going and learning stuff, doing the right thing, all these things, and like we said, just living with us. That's hard enough. I mean, hey, speak for yourself. We're angels, we know. Sometimes. So, we just want to say that we love you, Dad. Love you. Love you. Hi.
I think being brave is something that we don't talk about all that much. And in fact, I had to look up the definition. Ready to face and endure danger or pain, showing courage. When I think about Mike Daly, I think of someone who, when faced with opposition and in the company of others who wouldn't be honest, he is. When the question of integrity comes for a customer, doing the right thing, he does. I also think of the bravery you, Mike, have shown at the death of your dad. For you to suddenly find yourself standing beside your dad's bed after a wreck, and you took your mother in and single-handedly have made sure she is cared for, and that you have provided for her and walked beside her during this time. I guess to answer the question, how have I seen you been brave? It's that you never faltered. You stay in there. You're somebody that I couldn't imagine not having by my side as a best friend, a brother I didn't have. And I have to say, I think there are people who would love to have a friend like you, but I'm glad you're mine. And I'm glad to know that you don't give up when it's hard.
I think Poppy's brave because I'm jumping in the pool and be brave by himself.